Hello students, welcome back. This is digital painting and we're going to talk about the bonus for the lasso landscape, which is setting up our black and white paintings in our color grade. Hello students, here what we're going to do is go through and create one of our small thumbnails that we can use to set up a color gradient or a gradient map once we go through and make these pictures. So there's a file in our folder that has 4 different horizontal images, squares. They're all in a different layer, and I've already made a couple images here from some photos, and what I want to do now is show you how to go through and create another set of these. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to make that bottom one disappear again. This is using Procreate, and what we're trying to do is just do a simple interpretation of foreground, midground, background. That's it. So we're only going to use a selection or a lasso tool to go through and draw those out. We're going to use the photograph to tell us the information, and then we'll just go through and fill it in with different values, which we can then throw a gradient map on top of. That will be a separate video. All we're doing here is just setting up our 4 images. So if I go over here and I'm going to insert a photo, I've got a bunch here. I do want to try one of the cityscape ones. So let's go ahead and try one of these. So here's my photo. We're going to take it and move it up in our stack so it's above that square. Okay. Then we'll select it. I'm going to bring it over here. That's close to the right size. Rather than staying with just the size, I don't care about if we stretch it out or whatever. We don't want to have to make up too much information. So I'm going to hit freeform, and that allows me to drag it out until it fits over that square. So we'll just pretend like the building's wider. We uncheck that. I'm going to take the layer and I'm going to go into the opacity and turn that down to about 50%. Okay. Then we're going to go to the top right square. That's where we're at. We're going to create a new layer. I am going to select clipping mask, and I'm going to rename this. Let's start this one with the foreground. Okay. So we have that layer. It's clipped to that gray square. So this layer is underneath the photo, but above the gray square. So I'll close my layers. Now I'm going to hit the selection tool. I'm on that new layer. So I want to decide what is in the foreground, what is up close. I am going to say that this building over here on the side is in the foreground, this little balcony. Okay, there's one. I can draw another one with Procreate. I don't have to hit the selection again. I can just start to draw. So I'm going to go up and follow some of these stairs over here, some of these stairs to the side, and then a little bit of the building over here. And I just have to move that around to close it. That is now selected. We have the stuff on the right, we have the stuff on the left, and that's in the foreground. So foregrounds we always want to make dark. So we'll take it down pretty close to a black. Okay. And then we're going to take our brush. In this case, I've got just like a watercolor brush. Let's even select another one. It's very big, it's very broad. it's only going to paint in my selection area. So if I start to paint in that top left corner, oh, this is not a good one. We're going to switch. Switch back. There we go. Make it big. There we go. Now you can see it. So I'm going to go over this a couple times with this to just kind of paint it in. Now, it's not easy to see right now because the photo's still there, but if we make the photo disappear, this is what we just did. It's just a raggedy shape. We can kind of paint more on it. You can make parts of it a little lighter, a little darker. But there we go. There's lighter and darker parts because it is a watercolor brush. So we have that. I'm going to unselect it, and I am going to add a new layer. We'll turn the photo back on. We're going to call this one Middle Ground. Okay, return. We've got that. One more thing, we have to create clipping mask. So now it is clipped to the gray. We can't paint outside of that area. That's the beauty of this. So we'll close that. We're going to create a new selection. So what's in the middle ground? Well, I feel like this building that's like yellowish, some of that stuff, the stuff that's behind the stairs. We get some of this stuff here. There's my first shape. Then there's a little bit of this building as it kind of goes back. Maybe some of the boat, whatever it is on the stairs. I have that selected. So as we move back, we need to get lighter. So we move up in value. And there we go. And we'll take a pause here. So now that we have that selected, we can grab our new value and start to paint that in on top of those buildings and that area on the right. And if we turn off the photo, you can see what that looks like. One trick is we need to make sure that the foreground stays on top. There we go. And then we'll turn the photo back on. Let's do our next area. So we're going to go back to this one, hit plus. We have a clipped layer already. Let's change the name to background. There we go. Return. Then we're going to make this disappear. Make a new selection. So I'm going to select all the buildings that are still left. And all that stuff that's kind of still visible there. There's a bit over here. We're going to make it quite a bit lighter. Then we can go back to our layer and paint. It's not going to be that much, but it will be something. And then if we turn off the photograph, we can see what that is. Okay, now we just have our most far away area. Okay, so we'll do one more. We want this one to be underneath the background or lower in our stack. Turn this off. We'll take a selection. We'll get all the guys over here and everything that's still available over here on the right. This one's going to be like very bright, very white. Take our brush. We'll paint that last bit. Turn our photo on. This is what it looks like. And then if we were to turn our photo off, it would look like this. So it's kind of an interpretation. Landscapes tend to work a little bit better for these. but we have something that's based on a photo. It wasn't hard to do, so we can kind of add a gradient map. So we have 3 of these, and let's go ahead and do that. First, I'm going to take these. I'm going to rename this one really quick. We'll just call it Sky. And then what I would do normally, I'm going to take this, move it over. We'll show our layers, take a quick screenshot. There we go. Then I'm going to take those layers and I'm going to merge them all together. So I'm going to pinch them together, and now they're one layer. Okay. So then I can delete this other layer, and in a new video shortly, I'm going to go through and we'll finish the next one and add a layer, a gradient map on top.